Howdy. So, welcome back to another show. I'm going to wrap up my coverage of this long video that I started. Um, and got an echo going on. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Um, so the video that I was covering on Saturday, I did a 4-hour stream. Probably won't be doing another one that long again. That was a marathon. Um, but usually, if I do one early Saturday morning, those ones are going to go longer. Got through most of this one. Darth Dawkins talking with a guy named TonyW. Who claims to be an associate professor of biology. And so we've got like the last 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 18 minutes, I think. So we'll try to get through this one a little quicker, see what's going on. I pushed it back a couple of seconds to see where we're at, but I'm not even sure I think where they were at, they were getting kind of stuck in the situation where Tony had kind of conceded to Darth's idea about, I think, invoking a metaphysic, whatever that means. Essentially, if you're referring to things, it affirms or negates the God world or whatever, his usual shtick. But then Tony took it in a direction where, okay, but which God world? And now they've gotten kind of wrapped up in this bit where Darth is struggling to get Tony from deism or kind of a basic theism thing over to specific theism. Like, it's got to be the Christian God. And I think at the point that we ended it, he was doing his usual, it can't be Islam because the Quran is wrong shtick, which he's usually bad at. But I think that's where we left off. So we'll be jumping back into that. Let's see here. That's weird. All right. Geo Sam, good to see you. Errant Cocos, hello from the other side of the world. Clive Gordon, good to see you. Is J Robin back? I have heard that J Robin has an account and he's occasionally over on Discord because I think he's a gamer, but I don't know how much more into this he's been. I don't know that if he's back on Clubhouse or not, and I kind of doubt he'd be hanging out with Darth Dawkins. But the monk, you're spoiling us. Well, I'm just trying to get this stuff, trying to cover what I mean to cover. Soul to Sape, good to see you. Jordingus. John Fapiano, good to see you. Alex Baptista, hello, hello. Leonard. And Maya. Hey, Maya. How's it going? So we never did settle anything up on doing some alternative content. And I missed your show Sunday night. We had a going away party going on, and I forgot that you'd be on at like 9:30 your usual time. My niece and her husband were moving to Europe. Military thing. So, yeah, we had a little going away shindig for them. Other than that, I don't think that I have anything else going on other than trying to digest that terrible dinner that I just cooked. Terrible. Failed. Really failed. If anybody knows how to prepare red lentils in a way that don't come out either completely mushy or chalky, I'd love to hear it. I have no idea how to cook those damn things. So, anyway, with that being said, get back in here. Doubting Thomas, hello. Good to see you. And second best Bob. James F is here too. That's definitely more important. Yeah, time with family. It can be. Let's see. Let's get that in big end. Thank goodness you're live streaming. I'm chained to a desk at the moment. I hope not literally, Scott Duke. If literally and you need me to make a call, just let me know. So not too much context with this one. If you haven't seen the first part, this is part 2 of it. This one should be quicker. Just wrapping this one up. I guess I'll get into this. I don't think I really have any other announcements, and there's nothing more to really say about this one. I will try to wrap this up as soon as I can because I think it's 7 o'clock my time, 7 Eastern. Bridge the Divide has a video premiering. He's got a video on what's that guy's name? Powell, I think. Or is it Mike Winger? One of the two. It's one of those guys. I think it's actually Matt Powell. So that'd be kind of interesting to check out, since I'm pretty sure Powell went full hate preacher, and then buddied up with Kent Hovind, even amidst all of his controversies. So I'd be kind of interested to see what JL's got on them. All right, let's get into this one. Here we go.
You're committing a fallacy right now. I'm going to explain to you what it is. It's called a worldview body double.
Oh, perfect. Right. Worldview body double. Couldn't have opened in at a better part.
Only one model of reality, okay, can be true. All models of reality, all worldviews, okay, only one worldview can be true. And that true worldview has to have the parameters, the fundamental parameters to ground truth.
I don't know what he's talking about. My understanding of worldviews, all worldviews contain truth and false. It's just a collection of people's opinions, beliefs, feelings, biases, yada, 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 yada. That can include things that aren't true. This idea, like, I don't know. I was talking with my brother about this earlier today. I'm the more these guys just kind of say this and say, well, there can only be one worldview. To me, it sounds like they're just using worldview in terms of like a reality. There's only one kind of objective reality. And hell, I don't know if even that's true. I mean, if you've gotten into the study of physics at all, quantum physics, I mean, that starts to kind of bend your brain a little bit. You start kind of questioning everything. So let's see where Darth's going to go with this.
Truth, reason, and intelligibility. You reject and you deny the exclusivity the exclusivity and the indispensability of the Christian worldview. When you do not
indispensability. Okay. Scott Duke says Matt Powell has always been a full hate preacher. Yeah, he pretty much has, but I think he just kind of embraced it better. What's up, JL? Looking forward to your video later. Is it Matt Powell? I'm pretty sure it is Matt Powell. For some reason, I was thinking you were doing a Mike Winger one, but
respond to me by presenting your worldview, and you offer another worldview or multiple worldviews that are not your own. That is called the fallacy of a worldview body double. A body double is used, a body double or a stuntman is used so that the main actor doesn't get injured. Now, all worldviews are mutually contradictory.
Why did he just bring up that bit about the body double? Did anyone understand why he went there? I have no idea. Wow, that was supposed to help in any kind of analogy. Jail says, I have a new Matt Powell vid coming up in 23 minutes. Man, what is wrong with YouTube? It said it would start at 7 p.m. my time. In fact, I think it still does. YouTube can't handle time zones.
All right.
Okay. Now, if you're going to negate the Christian worldview, okay, you must present your worldview. Because if you don't, and you invoke another worldview that is your own, you are invoking a worldview from within your own worldview that is false.
All right. That's fair. Again.
No, it's not. How does he? What the fuck? Did he go all that way to say basically like the side 10 thing? Like, hey, Tony, you can't invoke Islam over Christianity from your worldview because you know Islam's not true. When Tony's whole point at this point in their conversation, if you watch the first one, at this point he got there, he's like, well, how do I know that the Christian concept of a God is the one? And Darth basically said, well, check the Bible. The Bible gives a clear, an unambiguous description of the kind of God necessary for this to fulfill these kinds of things, which it doesn't. Darth's lying about the Bible. And now it seems to be like, well, okay, you can't assert this one for the sake of argument when Tony's asking, like, how do I rule them? Darth's basically just took a very long time saying, well, you have to automatically rule that one out because you don't believe it anyway. When that wasn't Tony's point. Tony's like, how would I know? Like, maybe I have ruled out Islam, Why would I rule in Christianity in favor of it just because I've ruled out one? They could both be false.
Going in circles.
I'm not going in circles.
I'm not rejecting the Christian worldview.
Yes, you are.
I'm
To not
asking you
accept it
for.
is to deny it. To not accept the Christian worldview as the ground of all
That's not
being
true.
is, no, it most certainly is.
No,
The
no, because if
Christian
somebody's
worldview,
looking, hold on. If somebody is looking for answers, you can't just say that.
sir,
The burden of proof is on your shoulders to, without a doubt, prove it. I'm asking you to do
I'm not.
that.
I already did. I explained to you.
You said, dude,
Dude, just say
no,
you're an atheist and prove
dude,
Okay,
atheism.
no,
listen
dude.
I'm
to me.
not. I'm not.
Hold
Listen,
on a
dude,
second.
no. Well, hold on a second. Dude, look, I don't want you to say I was born a Christian. This is what you're saying. I was born a Christian and somehow I justify it by using philosophy. I'm asking you for some proof.
Tony, do you have a worldview?
I can't say that I really do. I'm
Yes,
trying to look for one.
No, you do have a worldview.
TOS. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Darth actually commits his body double fallacy when he internally critiques atheism by starting with God exists and atheists just deny it, right? Yeah, kind of. I mean, in a way, it's consistent because it would be better if Darth would just say he can't engage in an internal critique with an atheist, because then he'd have to assume a worldview that he doesn't agree with. Then that would be consistent. But you're right, Jail. What he actually does is he pretends that he's doing an internal critique, but then insists that the person that he's doing the internal critique on is doing one of two things. First, they have to provide an alternative to the God that he's posited for his worldview to work. In order for the skeptic and the other worldview to work, it's necessary for it to have some kind of being similar to the one that he's got. Or they'll do things like what Redefined Living and other guys like this do. Well, they'll insist that what the atheist is doing is making a bold claim coming forward and saying reality is independent of anything. There is no higher power. There are no higher forces. Reality just is reality, and it just, it doesn't rely on anything else. They're seriously trying to do this, and they're saying, now you atheists have a burden to tell us to prove that reality truly is independent of any kind of metaphysical higher power or governing thing or higher principle or deity, whatever. Tell us what it is, when that's actually not what atheists are doing. The claim being made is that all of reality is dependent upon the God that Darth believes in, and he thinks it's Yahweh/Jesus, the God of the Christian Bible. And instead of making a defense for that, his idea is to chase down what he believes is the implicit claim being made by Christians that nothing requires any kind of higher power, and that needs to be substantiated in order to dodge talking about Jesus. It's fantastic. It's a colossal waste of time. I probably shouldn't have said that. Somebody could just clip that and use that like Tom Rabbit does anytime they do anytime they did any coverage of any of my stuff.
It may be unrefined.
Message to all you haters out there. Yeah, clip that part.
It may be crude, and I don't mean that in a pejorative sense, but you have a worldview. Children have worldviews, Tony.
All right.
Okay? A worldview is your entire collection of interconnected and interrelated beliefs.
It's almost starting to make sense. My worldview allows for the possibility of some other worldviews being correct. So I can refer to another worldview because my worldview allows it and remain consistent with my worldview. There you go. Well said.
That are typically unified, either concretely or abstractly, which you accepted wholeheartedly earlier in the conversation. Do you have a set of beliefs, Tony?
Can you look?
I'm asking you a legitimate question.
I know.
Do you have a set of beliefs that are interrelated and interconnected?
In that they're shared in one mind? What does he mean by interrelated and interconnected? Like the fact that you just happen to like... maybe a stream of consciousness. I was thinking about getting groceries, but then it reminded me of something I wanted to order on Amazon, and then I remembered that movie's streaming, and like that kind of interconnected, or are we just Darth?
They are open to debate. They are
No.
open. Yes.
Tony, do
No,
you have one or more beliefs?
These questions are so stupid, Darth. Oh my god. And this is all predicated on that philosophical conclusion that atheists, by definition, are committing to the claim that gods don't exist as expressed in the SCP. Sort of. I don't think that it's necessary. Here's the thing. I don't think it's as bold a claim as a lot of these people make. Because when they try to make the distinction between, well, an atheist is somebody who's going to take this position on this philosophical discussion. God exists, God doesn't exist. That's an atheist from the philosophical perspective. I don't think that's hard. A hard stance to take, and I think it's Weasley if an atheist tries to say, well, I don't want to commit to that because I'm actually an agnostic. The problem with that is that that's probably true in terms of their psychological commitment. They might be more of an agnostic than an atheist. Their position, their belief isn't that there isn't a god or there's no possible way that there are gods. They're undecided about what that is. They're not convinced one way or the other. But if they're going to get into a discussion about it, especially someone's specific God, someone specifically arguing for Yahweh, Jesus, Allah, whatever, then it gets easier to deny because now the person's got some meat on that thing, and they've got more to defend. This is the thing that Darth dodges by getting into all this kind of fluffy crap at the beginning. He doesn't have to deal with any of the contradictions or any of the issues with his own specific religion. He can just talk about this sort of classical theist thing, entity God thing, and compel people into being like, well, you're either denying the God world or you're affirming the God world, whatever that case may be. So in terms of like whether or not this is all predicated on that philosophical conclusion, some of it is, but the claim that they're making is actually worse. What the Christians are doing is harder core than that. What they're saying is, their belief is, if you don't believe in my God, then what your claim is that I as a Christian, I believe that reality is completely dependent upon that being. So when you tell me you don't think my God's real, you're telling me that reality is independent. And that's a problem because what I've disagreed with is that I don't believe that reality is dependent on that God, not on nothing. I don't believe in an absence of some higher power or a complete absence of some overall arching. Maybe there is some kind of like energy or a pantheistic thing. Who knows? You could get into that ad nauseum. I'm rejecting the claim that you made when you said that all of reality derives and depends upon Jesus. That's the claim specifically. And that one I reject. And then they're twisting this around into, all right, atheist, you're the skeptic. You've made a hell of a claim. Your claim is reality is totally independent. It relies on, there's no metaphysical primary that needs to rely on. Like that's twisting things around. That's from their worldview. Like, no, I didn't say that reality was independent. I said it was independent of your God.
Yes.
Okay. Are those beliefs in any way or in any sense interrelated or interconnected?
Yes.
Okay. You have a worldview then, Tony.
All right. I will grant you a
Now,
worldview of.
does that worldview provide the basis for truth, reason, and intelligibility?
Yes, science would.
Okay. Now, that worldview, is it the Christian worldview?
Why would the worldview do that? Why would a worldview doesn't provide truth?
I am open to that.
That's a dodge answer.
That's not a
Is
dodge
your
answer.
worldview
Why don't
the Christian worldview?
I would tell him yes, because here's the thing. Without Christianity, especially the obnoxious, fundy, foaming at the mouth, chase you down a dark alley kind of obnoxiousness version of Christianity that Darth represents here, I probably wouldn't have some of the worldview, the components of the worldview that I have. So they largely have been formed by a Christian one in the sense that I'm culturally Christian. America is, chock full of Christianity all over the place. And the one thing that I would ask, if Darth is not a Calvinist. So if you put Darth in a room with a Calvinist, which one of them has the Christian worldview? Because there's only one, according to Darth, and only one is true, according to Darth. But you have two different Christians who believe some fundamentally very different things about God. They'll try to tell the skeptic that, no, this is inside baseball, this is in club stuff, you don't need to bother yourself with that. It's not, it doesn't derive, it doesn't have anything to do with salvation, it doesn't have anything to do with, getting to heaven, right? It doesn't count. These are minor doctrinal issues. That's what they'll usually try to write off. But they're not. Because if you have half a dozen Christians in a room, and one of them leads towards, let's say, annihilationism. When everyone dies, you simply cease to exist. The good and the bad. And then the other five are just, oh my God, what are you talking about? That's clearly not the Christian worldview. And they're like, no, but it is. And another person's like, no, it has to be eternal conscious torment. Another one's like, what are you effing crazy? It's clearly universalism. Everyone gets saved. God and Jesus died for all. Does it not say that? And then watch the fur fly. And then go back to somebody like Darth Dawkins and say, hey, can you spot the one true Christian worldview and that group of crazy over there?
Currently, it is not.
Good. So your worldview constitutes the not Christian worldview. The not Christian worldview, according to you,
there wouldn't be one. There isn't. My worldview contains an enormous amount of Christianity in it. But Darth would claim that it's not a Christian worldview because I don't assume that God is true before doing anything else with my thinking, which gets him back into his original problem. This is a good question. I always wonder how he would answer the question of whether worldviews are static or dynamic things in his view. I don't know if anyone's actually really even asked him that directly. I would be interested to hear that too. It's pouring rain in Gatlinburg, Tennessee right now, and I'm stuck in a hotel room watching Jeff on my vacation, and that's okay. No, that's all right. Well, that's good. It's good to know my channel's good for something. I hope the rain lets up and you're able to do something. That sucks.
provides the establishment of the fundamental parameters that provide for truth, reason, and intelligibility. Is that your position?
Repeat that one more time.
Your worldview, which constitutes the not Christian worldview, its fundamental parameters provide for truth, reason, and intelligibility.
No. No one's worldview does that. Why would that be the thing? I'm kind of wondering if he thinks that worldview is revelation, because I don't know what he's doing with this. This is remarkably bad.
Is that correct?
Yeah, it is my belief that it does. Again, though,
okay.
you're well, hold on,
now.
dude. Can I get 2 damn words in?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Now I told you that I was agnostic. I believe that you made a very reasonable and very
Well, you just told
concrete.
me a few minutes ago you believe in God.
I know. I'm getting there.
What is it? Do you believe in God or
Hold
do you not
on.
believe in God?
Hold on.
This is amazing. Like, he can't. Holy shit. He's supposed to be able to do this. He's got a guy that is almost at the point of believing in a higher power, thanks to his goofy rhetoric at the beginning. And he's going to kill that because he can't get this guy harassed into accepting Christ. Because he can't bridge this. He can't close the deal. Unbelievable.
I told you. I'm just walking you through this. I'm saying I had that belief. That is true. And then you made a real concrete and logical argument for God. And I told you, okay, I accept that. But we went forward and I told you, okay, what makes Christianity the truth? That's where we're at. So when you ask me for my worldview and I say it's open to debate, I mean that. I'm not trying to be a ass with you, not trying to be a
I
hardhead.
don't think that you. I don't think you are either. I think
Mhm.
we just are agreeing. I think we're vigorously disagreeing. I do not think that you're being an ass. I
Right, but the problem, but Darth is being an ass about this because what Darth wants to do is not have to actually do the hard work of um, providing a case for his God. The only thing that he's doing is saying it's inarguable, and then just asserting that over and over again. You know it, and if you claim to not know it, you're in denial. You're lying to yourself. You're lying to others. Everybody knows this. Come on, come on, come on. This is the extent of what apologetics has kind of become at this point. And yeah,
think that a couple of times you're dodging what I'm asking you. Now, if you don't, you said what makes
how has he had an opportunity to dodge? That was the longest he's had a chance to speak in this entire video.
Christianity true? What provides a objective proof that it's true?
Objective, yes.
The objective proof, okay, is that the God of Christianity has revealed himself, okay, his attributes through creation and through human history in a rationally undeniable way, and including that the Christian worldview that he has revealed constitutes being exclusive. No other worldview can have the fundamental parameters of the Christian worldview, which is the attribute set of the God of the Bible.
Which is what? The one where he lies to people? The one where he can't find people? The one where he has to physically show up and take a look around for things? Or send his angels to get a closer look at certain stuff? Find out what's going on? That attribute set? Everything about this is presupposing a univocality that the Bible lacks. And the only reason that Darth believes this is because he's been told that this is how one should approach the Bible as a fervent Christian believer, and it's wrong. It's the fundamental reason why I could never go back to Christianity, even if I were inclined to believe in God. I couldn't go back to this kind of faith presentation that he's doing because this is sort of a fetish. This isn't accurate at all. You cannot get a uniform, concrete attribute set from the Bible. And if you claim that you can, but so the one thing I should put this, I should be more careful about that. You can probably derive some ideas or some implications about what God's attributes are from certain passages in the Bible. But there are other passages from other books of the Bible where you can derive very different qualities about that God. It is not a univocal presentation of a deity. Different ones present God in different ways. The way Job presents God is different than, say, the way, maybe the way in parts of Exodus he's portrayed. In Exodus, God is quite wrathy and hungry and impatient and a dick. In Job, also seems to be kind of a dick in that one, but his behavior is a little bit more measured. By the time you start getting into other depictions of him, by the time you get into like what Christians believe to be the ultimate depiction of God in the Bible, is in physical form, as Jesus dying for our sins and resurrecting. And those are not univocal. If you read Matthew, he's a Jewish teacher, and he limits his teaching to the Jews. By the time you get to John, he's as mainstream as K-pop.
And it's exclusive, and those fundamental attributes of the God of the Bible are indispensable. In other words, you cannot ground truth, reason, and intelligibility in your worldview without the character set of the God of the Bible. Now, your position is your worldview, which is not the Christian worldview, can ground the viability of truth, reason, intelligibility without the character set of the God of the Bible. Would you please defend that?
Okay, but can we back up? You made a lot of very
I just
poignant.
asked you. I just asked you a question. I want you to do one simple thing. Your position, your propositional stance, is that your model of reality, your worldview, can ground the basis for truth, reason, and intelligibility without the attribute set of the Christian God, right?
Well, hold on.
That doesn't make sense. This is if they're talking about somebody having a worldview where they have a picture of their head of how reality works, and it's how they kind of go along justifying how they think works. It doesn't make sense to me why anyone would need a complete worldview in order to attempt to talk about how they ground intelligibility, truth, or any of these other kinds of things. It also wouldn't matter to me necessarily that someone could get any of this stuff right, because what Darth wants to tell people then is that they can't invoke a fact, which makes no sense, because a fact, in reality, a fact is an objective state of reality, regardless of what your perception is. When you talk about it, you turn it into a propositional thing, and it's true because the proposition accurately reflects the state of affairs the fact is, but the fact is objectively there. You don't have to know how it's true to know that it's true. And I don't know if Darth gets this.
That's not
That's
the
a
statement I
question.
made.
Okay, that is your
Okay.
position.
My position.
Darth's insisting this is Tony's position when Tony's like, no, that's not my position. This is good because more people need to do this, because Darth would just be like, no, there's only two positions, mine and everyone else's. You either agree with me, because that's the right one, the Christian worldview, and then there's the fake worldview, which is any other alternative you try to posit. So checkmate, skeptic. Now tell me, even though he's being completely dishonest here, because he's not interested in an actual claim, because if somebody provided an alternative like he's asked for before, he'll say it's not viable. If he says, what kind of explanation can you give, he'll dismiss it because they say, well, that justification is empirical, so it has problems with induction. That justification is purely rational, so it's relying entirely on your own reason and not the reason of some other god. Even though it, at his best, Darth's claims about the world and about his God are all held up by empirical justification. Look at the trees. An appeal to ignorance, where those trees come from, if not God, I can't imagine what, and then rational arguments, defenses for God, problems, kind of the apologetic arguments, a Kalam cosmological argument, a modal ontological argument, the Anselmian ontological argument, etc. So all the things that he would use to kind of bolster his defenses for his faith he's going to rule out for anyone else, because no, that's fine, you can talk about empiricism all you want, but without God, empiricism doesn't work. You can talk about rationality and rhetoric as much as you want, but without God, they don't work, they just fall apart. And again, you'd have to find out, like, okay, wait, why do you think that? Well, because without God, you wouldn't be able to make sense of anything. If there was no God, then everything would just be chaos and nonsense and blah. No, an absence of God would indicate an absence of absolutely everything else. So that doesn't track. So why would his ontological existence have anything to do with my capacity to know anything about the existence of other things he's created, or my own existence, or even his existence? Darth acknowledges that we can't know God completely. But for some strange reason, he believes the Christian worldview gives you a lock on understanding reality, because even though you don't know everything, you've got a magical sky buddy who does. And if you pray to him, and if you get really desperate and you drop to your knees and you beg him not to come get you, because that's how Darth appeals to God. It's not, Jesus, I love you, I want to be your friend, I want you to love me, we need to have a relationship, yada yada. No, that's too beta for Darth. Darth says, drop your knees, kiss the ring, and beg the cable not to fucking whack you. That's Darth's view of God. It's just a mob boss or a warlord type thing. Beg him not to fuck you up. And when you establish that kind of relationship with him, now you can walk around cocksure that everything about the world around you is not only correct because your buddy knows it is, but everything is going to be yours too. Like, this is just kind of I'm out of clever things to say. It's sick. It's a little sick.
Hold on, my position is evolving, no pun intended. And it's
That was
clearly,
corny. Don't do that again.
Clearly it's changing a bit, because I agreed with you that, okay, based on that logic, there could be a God. When you say worldview, what are you
Okay.
getting at? Are you
Tony,
trying to? I'm asking
Tony,
you to.
do you believe in God or not?
I just told you it's very
Do you?
logical.
No, I didn't ask
No,
you if it was logical. I didn't ask you if it was probable.
currently I don't.
Okay, so why did you tell me a while ago that
Dude,
you do believe in God?
Are you not getting what I'm saying? I'm telling
not.
you that yes, you made a very logical point, and now I need to find and
Okay, so now you're
understand
telling me you
which.
don't believe in God?
Dude, no one just believes in God in 10 minutes. I mean, I'm telling you that
Okay.
yes, I agree with you that you know what? It's very yes, okay, there
No,
is
I
a
didn't ask
God,
you if it's
which
possible. I didn't
that's
ask
an
you if it's
agnostic.
I'm not asking you if it's possible. Do you have a positive attitude toward the proposition that God is and that he is the ground of all being? Do you accept that as true?
Currently, I'd say no if you're gonna force a yes or no.
No, I'm not forcing anything. I'm asking you a question.
All right. Well, if you're not forcing anything, I'm gonna tell you I am open for the thought of yes.
No, I didn't ask you. I didn't ask you if you're open. I said, do you positively affirm?
This is how you lose a sale. This is how you lose a sale. Jesus. I didn't ask you if you were up, oh, you know what? You know, the more you talk about the new Ram pickup truck, the more I kind of want it. Okay, are you buying it now? No, I'm just saying, like, that. You know, you've really given some good insight and some good arguments about the quality of this particular vehicle. I am a little bit leery about buying an Italian truck, as it were, since it's not really American anymore. It's owned by Stellantis, but still, you know, you're making some great points here. Well, are you going to buy it? Yes or no? Buy it now. No, I didn't say I was going to buy it. I'm just saying now you know, if I were going to buy something, I'd have to consider the new Ram as a possibility. No, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. You need to buy it today. And if you don't, that Ram is going to show up in the middle of the night and kill you in the name of Jesus. That's how Ram works. It's a wrathful truck.
From now that the ground of all existence is God.
Okay, dude, this is gonna amount to like a circular argument. This is some like mental masturbation that we're just not gonna get anywhere.
Notice how I'm asking you a very simple, clear.
Dude, listen, if you tell me one more effing time that you're open to becoming a Christian, I'm going to kick you, understand? Yeah, exactly. This is so fucking weird. Like, hey, I brought you in here. We had a long discussion on this. I think you can see my position a little bit better. Yeah? Yeah? Okay, cool. So, Jesus, thumbs up, thumbs down. Yeah, just that's it. That's it. Yep. And if you put your thumb down, I swear to God, I'm going to sick him on you. I'll sick Yahweh on you so good. You know what he could do with locusts?
Questions.
It's not simple.
Okay.
It's clear, yes, but it's not simple.
No,
you
it's
can't
very
make
simple.
it simple.
No, it is simple. Do you positively affirm that God is and that he is the ground of all being?
Positively, no.
Okay, so that means that you're an atheist.
Or it means he's an agnostic.
Okay?
Again, agnostic.
Okay, so we want to go that route. Okay, here's the problem with agnosticism. Okay, agnosticism is
Hold
the
on,
claim.
I want you to prove the Christian God to me.
I already
Dude,
did.
you said he
Using what?
showed me based on what I'm looking at outside.
Okay,
That's
you want to let
literally.
me finish? I gave you the objective, revelational.
It's not objective.
May I finish, please?
Yeah, but you said I because basically what you're saying is
Good.
I can wake up in the morning.
Okay, Tony. Regardless of whether you disagree with me or not, from my perspective, I gave you an objective line of reasoning. Now you are not persuaded, and you're saying it is not an objective instantiation of the Christian worldview. Now what that means? Because
I told you,
Tony,
a Muslim and a Jew can.
I expect more out of you if you're an academician. Okay.
Well, I feel
you could have just called him an academic, Darth. I mean, stumbling over the weirder word doesn't make you look cooler.
Like we're not getting anywhere. It's kind of frustrating.
Well, that's because you're doing the Dillahunty dodge. Okay, you're dodging, you're weaving, you're verbally tap dancing.
What is he talking about? Nothing that Tony W is doing at all is is in any way a reminder of Dillahunty. Even if you thought Dillahunty was completely dishonest and most of his rhetorical styles were performative tricks and traps. Let's say that that's what Darth believes. Darth, I think, thinks that all skeptics have that in them. What has happened in an hour-long conversation with TonyW to make him think that? This is 1, inaccurate, 2, unfair, 3, irrelevant, and 4, totally uncalled for. This is Darth, as usual, like pulling his pants down and starting to pleasure himself, because I think he enjoys the mouthfeel of Dillahunty's name. There's no reason to bring that up.
Evading many of my questions now.
I'm sorry, slow down.
How is he evading many of his questions? He's hardly given a chance to speak. Any of these idiots that have this guy on, Darth Dawkins, on in the Discord, if they were going to do anything, what they need to do is shut this old fuck down. Because this stuff is nonsense. Like, even if you just you're not giving him a chance to speak. And I would, I know what they're thinking. Like, oh, no. If you get assertive with that old creep, he'll run. Like, that's probably true. He'll take his toys and he'll go play someplace else. What he actually does is he goes to your favorite sandbox and then pisses in it so that no one can enjoy it and then fucks off, because that's the kind of fuck he is. But any of this kind of stuff, any of this kind of behavior happening in this one, this is a guy who has conceded like one of the core things that Darth never gets past with anybody. The idea that you can, when you invoke a fact, or you're invoking it in a Christian worldview or not. Tony agreed with him. Most people will not give that one up. And Darth is, and Darth, how was Darth treating that? That's a major success for Darth right there. He's got somebody partially convinced, maybe moving into a deist worldview. He should let that linger and let that percolate and let that person take that in the direction that they're going to go. But instead, he just referred to him as being dishonest and equated him with a counter apologist that everyone knows he hates to poison his own well. This is fascinatingly incompetent.
What's Dillahunty?
That's a famous atheist on YouTube. Okay. Since you do not accept the actuality, exclusiveness, and indispensability of God as the ground of all being. Okay. Now, what is it that institutes why anything is, can be, or cannot be, including truth and intelligibility? Since you don't accept that it's the God of the Bible, what is the basis that makes truth and intelligibility real on a metaphysical scale?
Right now, I believe that it is a creator from a religion that's not necessarily Christianity.
Okay. Change my headset.
Okay.
Oh, he's got choices.
I mean, does anyone disagree with that?
I totally get what you're saying.
I mean, yeah, I feel like I'm not trying to complicate it.
The problem that I'm running into here is that Darth Dawkins is saying, I'm not trying to force you into a yes or no while forcing you into a yes or no.
Dumpster Baby is correct. In what sense is a fallible human's interpretation of a text objective? Great question. And one that I think, maybe not asked that exact way, but I think Darth Dawkins has been asked that question before, and I'm pretty sure he jumped out of the way. He fled. He chickened out. Hog Time. Dee Dee says, I'm taking my ball and going home, then picks up the ball and starts walking, except it's not his ball. Exactly. Dillahunty Dodge, pointing out that the options listed are not logically exhaustive, A or B, as opposed to A or not, or is that not A or approximately A? Then getting accused of dishonesty when you don't provide another option. Yeah.
And when you say, well, if you're forcing me into a yes or no, I'm going to say no. He's going to say, I don't accept that.
Stop.
He's making.
You're going to I don't hear anybody rejecting. You are not accepting the exclusivity and indispensability of the character set known as the Christian God
Right, because you haven't determined that that's true. When he asked Darth about this, what would make those claims from from Christianity true? Darth has relied on the fact that he believes dogmatically that the Bible refers to God in a univocal way, and from that you can derive all of these sets, and therefore that makes it um, unavoidable. I mean, it's just so easy to conclude that it's necessarily the Christian God. But when asked about that, this would fall apart really quickly if he was talking to any theologian. And if he was talking to somebody who is, well, certain theologians would probably have problems with it. Some would probably pat him on the head and tell him to, like, oh, that's nice, your fervor's great. But if he was talking to somebody who studies this kind of stuff and has to teach it at a university, this would not hold up. This is not this. He is literally trying to go from I've made a case for a kind of acceptability of deism, and now I'm going to insist that you accept all of this Christian dogma too, which he hasn't really been explicit about. He said that, oh, these properties come from the Bible, you know, they're indicated in the Bible, that God has that character set. That's not clearly indicated in the Bible. He's talked about a worldview, one worldview, a Christian worldview that is correct. It can't be wrong necessarily. But he wouldn't be able to account for differences in perspectives amongst Christians for things like heaven, hell, nature of good and evil, sin, original sin, forgiveness, salvation, Christologies, pneumatology, harmatology, all that kind of stuff.
But that there's another creator that's not the Christian God that provides for the basis of human reason, truth, and intelligibility. Is that correct?
I am.
Hey, mute
Who's
your
that?
microphone, dude. Mute your microphone. Okay, is Tony still here?
I think he left.
Okay.
Tony
Yeah,
leaves.
so I like Tony. And what happened, you saw he started out real
If you liked him, why'd you compare him to Dillahunty, your least favorite human being?
intellectual and real cordial. But when the questions became more refined, he started to filibuster. He started to tap dance and
Filibuster? When?
dodge and evade the
Okay, so dodging means asking for clarification.
questions. Okay.
Darth
That's not
Dawkins,
what I saw.
And he was making elementary mistakes in basic logic and philosophy.
When?
Okay.
So that's a problem with atheism. Atheism cannot be rationally instantiated.
Of course it can. What? Of course it can. Of course it can be rationally instantiated. The fuck does he think rational is?
Although it can be irrationally verbalized.
Oh, okay. First of all, Christianity can be rationally instantiated. That doesn't mean it's right. And it can be irrationally verbalized. It is all the time. We just watched Darth do that.
Okay. And what you saw with Tony's a nice guy, intelligent guy, educated guy, but he was all over the map. One minute he says he doesn't believe in God. Then the next minute he says he's an agnostic. Then he says to me, oh, you've convinced me God exists. And then later on he goes back to saying there isn't a God. Then he says, well, there is a God,
This guy's brain is junk.
but it's not the Christian God.
That isn't at all what happened. That is not the correct recollection of what happened. Holy shit.
I mean, that was pretty bad for somebody who's
I agree.
as well educated as he's presented to be.
So what would an even advanced degree in biology have to do with any understanding of Christian dogma, Christian doctrine, and the Bible? Darth. I like how he does this kind of thing on his own, where he actually kind of like, it's sort of a weird appeal to authority. You know, the appeal to authority is if you try to like say like, well, you know, according to Richard Dawkins, this is the best hair conditioner that I could find. You know, he claims it's the best one. Richard Dawkins is scary smart when it comes to certain aspects of biology, and he's got a PhD in biology, don't you know? So I don't trust his opinion about conditioners because my hair's super dry. Like, clearly why would you do that? It has nothing to do with it. Darth will do this and I'm like, well, aren't you a physicist? I don't understand why you don't know what pneumatology is. Because he's a physicist, you ding dong. He doesn't study theology.
Okay, so the point is this with Tony. I think Tony was a nice guy, and I thought he was very intelligent. He started
Why does he have to keep? Is he reminding himself of this? Like, this is weird.
well, but toward the end, he was imploding because he was in over his head. He was not well equipped to handle this discussion philosophically. Okay, and that
He was better equipped than you are. Talking to Darth Dawkins about this kind of philosophical stuff is just a nightmare because you have to kind of wind this back and be like, okay, it's not so much like, okay, we're not on even footing and I'm going to have to explain some basic concepts. That's not the problem. It's the basic concepts that Darth has are either backward or completely fucked up. And he thinks he's got like the 101 handled. Like he's got the building blocks of it. Now, like just anybody else that shows up is just, you're not in my fighting class, kid. Amazing.
that has no bearing on his intelligence, his academic achievements. He just wasn't prepared for this discussion. You see, this is why he was getting flustered.
I like these cuts in this. He just keeps going back. I wondered if there was like people trying to move the conversation onto something else, and Darth just goes like, "Oh, by the way, let's talk about like you had 48 minutes to talk to Tony, and you fucked it up. Like he left, and you made a good point. He conceded that you made a good point. How many times has he talked to anybody that's even remotely pushed back on him? Said, "Oh yeah, I think that's a pretty good point there, Darth." And Darth managed to screw the pooch on that one. Do we need to organize an intervention for you to address your Darth Dawkins derangement syndrome? Yeah, I mean it's unhealthy, but you know, whatever. At least I'm not sniffing glue anymore, right? It keeps me away from the cocaine.
Toward the latter part of the interaction, because he was out of his league, not because he.
The amount of cope that's present here is funny. Like you'll notice that if the guy if the person states that they've got an education, it seems to me, and maybe I'm just imagining this, but watching these all this time, it seems like if the person that he previously talked to has stated that he has a PhD, or it can be conclusively proven that they have a PhD, Darth's need to repeat the claim that they were outclassed by him, that they were not in his league, that he mentally bench pressed them into oblivion. He just has to like triple and quadruple down on that. There's a lot of insecurity burbling up through this stuff.
He's stupid, not because he's not educated. He sounded very well educated, but because he was ill prepared in this area.
A PhD with an accent will not get this credit from Darth Dawkins.
He was not well practiced. He was ill-informed about the nature of apologetics and worldview issues. And this is the reason why he kept on dodging repeatedly.
He wasn't dodging you. Like, I hope Darth tunes into one of these. Darth, if you're listening, that guy was not fucking dodging you. He conceded one of your main points. The person that was dodging you would not have done that. Well, I mean, they could have if they were looking to like set you up for something else. If they were like trying to troll you. He even admitted at the end, he's like, you gave me something to think about with that first part. And when Tony asked Darth to make the connection, okay, I see your point here with this thing about invoking, you're implicitly or explicitly invoking a God world or not a God world, or affirming a God world or a not God world. Now, explain to me why that necessarily leads to Christianity. And Darth is now trying to say, well, that was Tony dodging, Tony doing this. Really? If Darth Dawkins does listen to this, Darth Dawkins, go and find a Muslim apologist that does the exact same thing. There are Muslim presuppers out there arguing this exact same spiel, exact same gimmick. Tony wasn't dodging.
My questions, not because my questions were malformed or they were.
And yeah, I mean, sniffing glue might be healthier than listening to Darth. Cranky.
illegitimate, but because if he truthfully answered them, he was in for a whole bag of hurt. And since he didn't want to fall into a bag.
You mean like conceding that you are either affirming a God world or a not God world? How could he possibly get into? I don't. It's like that never happened. Listening to him, how many of these videos has Darth just gone on and talked trash about these people after the fact this way? You could take Tony's name out and just put mine in there, or Michael the Canadian Atheist, or Randolph Richardson. You could just cut and paste anybody else's name in there, and you'd get the exact same readout.
Hurt. Okay, he dodged and danced and prevaricated.
He did not.
But whoever set him up, and I don't mean any respect toward Tony. I like Tony. I think he's a smart guy. I want to talk with him more. But whoever set him,
you mean talk at him more? And why would you want to talk to somebody who was set at you?
Him up. I don't think they really informed him of what was going to drop on him.
How does he know what the hell is he talking about? This is just him being paranoid, I guess.
You see, so stop interrupting me. Hold on a second. So I don't mean when he says stop interrupting me. The reason why I'm interrupting you, Tony, is because you keep on dodging my reasonable questions.
Reasonable, like God or not God? Go, go, go. No, no, no. Bye, bye, bye. What the fuck? Your reasonable questions. Do you believe in God or not? Do you believe in God or not? He went from probably not at all to maybe being like, I think you bring up an interesting point, Darth. I'll have to look into this a little bit more. I'll have to think about that. I find that a little bit convincing. I don't know if it's entirely convincing, like one-to-one, it's going to get me to Christianity, but you do have me thinking about the possibility of deism. And then Dawkins decided to drop trow and pee on everything and then set fire to the place and run around screaming. No, 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 it's got to be Jesus, got to be Jesus, got to be God. There's only one God. You read this book called the Bible, an illustrated manual to defining God and reality, and you'll see that not only am I right, I'm necessarily right.
And you don't want to answer them because they implicate your poor reasoning.
He was kind of being a softest towards the end there.
No, he wasn't, Ken, and your username sucks, and you're a dickhead. Arguing mind-body dualism with a geologist is not the win that DD thinks it is. Exactly. Darth's narcissism is fueled by his ability to challenge a scholar's knowledge outside their field of expertise. Yeah, which is hilarious to me. Like, well, I talked to this guy who's a PhD in petroleum sciences. He told me he didn't even know how grace worked. I mean, can you believe it? A petroleum scientist. Oh, my God.
Yeah, and I hope we talk again. I think he's a nice guy. I think that he definitely demonstrated some aptness to changing his mind. But I think that the line of reasoning that I was presenting him sequentially overwhelmed him, and he was ill prepared for it. And he didn't want to concede. Okay.
He did. Good God, Darth. He did concede one major point, like within the first third of your conversation. Holy shit!
Yeah, and that's what people do when they prevaricate.
They agree with you. Okay.
I think there's an emotional component, with.
There is an emotional component when someone won't let you talk. Yes. Baked Alaska. Moron. Of course there's an emotional component. You idiot. You guys are not on social media because there isn't an emotional kick to it. Human beings are feeling animals that think. You guys are not I love it. These guys are like, yeah, we're based alphas. We only come in here with like pure Vulcan logic. We can't be dissuaded, convinced or moved by appeals to emotion or anything. Like, oh yeah, get wrecked, bitch, get wrecked. Like, come on, this is pure cringe, cope, bullshit, social media, toxic, social nonsense all the way. None of these guys are there. If they weren't, if there wasn't an emotional payoff, they wouldn't be there. No, they're just there because it's just a purely intellectual and enlightening environment to be in. Yeah, with Ken anti-gay. Okay, sure. Imagine company like that. I mean, you'll be a Giga Chad in a matter of minutes in the company of these amazing minds.
With this issue, when you're talking about a belief that's fundamental.
Yeah. So ever who said
Right, a belief that's fundamental that Tony was willing to revise verbally in the moment with Darth Dawkins. I don't even think Baked Alaska was there.
him up here to come in and talk to me, they didn't do him service. He should have listened to a number of my interactions so that he could be prepared ahead of time with my line of reasoning, because he was completely unfamiliar with it.
Thank you, Tom Rabbit.
Jesus. Oh, Darth. What a loser. The clown car continues to rattle on. Jail says, on that note, if you haven't seen how Vulcans are portrayed in Star Trek Lower Decks, that shit was hilarious. Oh, really? I haven't watched those. I should probably take a look. I think those are on Paramount, aren't they? I think so. Bill Craig would laugh at these guys. Yeah, he probably would. I kind of wonder about guys like that. If you take Bill Craig and you have if Bill Craig was just a fly on the wall for one of these conversations, and let's say that they're all like the Discord type Christians, where they're all basically fascists. And most of them are race realist, red pilled, that kind of shit, and then they're sitting around talking about Jesus, and you got somebody like Craig there, oh my God, I had no idea. This goes on. Yeah. Because I don't see Bill Craig rocking that particular look. Maybe in his younger years, maybe if he was a generation off or something, but yeah, okay. So that kind of wraps that up. I'm going to get out of here and let this go. I do apologize for cutting in to JL's video time, but in my defense, I went live at 5:30 my time because YouTube told me that your video would premiere at 7 p.m. my time. YouTube lied to me, so I'll have to do something about that. I have no idea why those kinds of notifications across different time zones get so goofed up like that, but yeah, they do. Anyway, with that, I'll probably be back with there is a shorter video that Tom dropped a little while ago, a short conversation between him and a user named Muted for Winning. I think that was over in the Politics Discord. So I'm going to go over that one, and that should get me all caught up on the Darth content for a while. So, all right, folks. Thank you, everybody in the live chat, for being here and keeping things fun and fresh. I did want to say a special thank you to David. I think he was in here. I forgot to highlight your super chat to me. You super chatted me $10 on my Saturday thing, and I missed it, and I shouldn't have done that. So to David, thank you very much for that super chat. I'm very sorry that I did not highlight your content and read that, but it was appreciated. Thank you very much for that generosity. And with that, I guess I'm just going to wrap this up right now. If anybody has any thoughts, comments, hate, whatever, email me over at jeffersonspatchcock@gmail.com. You can find me on Twitter as well. I'm also on Blue Sky, finally. Not sure how I feel about that one. And Threads. Actually, I like that app, kind of. I don't think anybody's using it, so it's kind of weird. But I'm on Threads, Blue Sky, and Twitter, or you can email me directly if you've got anything, questions, comments, concerns, anything like that you want to run by me. Hopefully I'll respond. I think, and I owe an apologies to probably a couple of people, I may have received some emails, some questions, maybe even some fan art that I have not gotten back to and not used yet for any of my videos, and maybe have not responded to. I am very sorry about that because I get a lot of email from work. I get a lot of email from, well, not too much email from this, but it's easy for me to lose track of this kind of stuff, and I don't do as good a job keeping track of it as I do. I know that I appreciate any emails that you do send. I apologize if I did not comment, respond. I probably got them. I probably read them. I probably forgot to respond. So for that, I am sorry. But moving forward, I will try to do my best to respond to those Nobody's using which one? The Threads one. Threads. It seemed like it got like a bunch of people signed up for it. Well, I mean, it obviously already had a bunch of people doing with Instagram already, but a lot of people were using it initially, and then it kind of fell down. Like some people left or something like that. That's what I heard. Blue Sky, I think, has just been kind of consistently doing okay. So, but who knows? You're not on Friendster? Unsubscribed? No, I got rid of Friendster for adult the adult finder. Sorry. Yeah. Well, I can only have so many social media ones. Anyway, thank you, folks. Catch y'all later. Again, I'll probably be back in a day or two with a new video. So see you around.